Yo, another day in the lab, baby. So it's always a good day. It's always a good day when we in the lab. You want policing to be better in your communities? The best policing that you can that can happen in any community are people that's actually from the community and that.
Once again, Rick, host BNY podcast, now known as What Effing Week with BNY. Dev, how you feeling, man?
I'm in here.
What's good, comment section?
Yeah.
Do we drag our people down when sometimes they don't deserve it? For sure, absolutely. In this situation, this man deserves every single dragging that we can do because this is not an example of us.
But you got the angles. You got the knowledge of the game, bro.
This is where you're getting at, the IQ.
Down. Like he's telling you what's going on. How he was a bad husband. How he was just doing things his way. He's apologizing to his wife like, yo.
Pat ourselves on the back for that one because we didn't give yourself awards. I mean, who is?
Yeah, no more.
Hey. That Bonaparte play out. Bonaparte. Almost like the third member of this podcast. Let's bring us in.
Hey,
we live, baby.
How's it going? Hold on, I was trying to share this on my page.
Yeah, good. You go ahead and do that. I'm going to do some
All right.
talking. Yeah, Rick Will back with it. What a week with BNY. Charles County, how you doing? Another esteemed candidate that we have in front of us. But before we begin, you see the black screen right there. Dev is not here. His son is graduating today. Round of applause for Dev. Absolutely. You know, it's crazy because that's what he comes down to as well. It's crazy because obviously graduation going on, school board candidate. Got a lot of things in the community to talk about too as well. It's like we couldn't have planned this any better.
No, it's perfect. Yeah, it's good timing.
Yeah, somebody may accuse us of doing something how this worked out, you know, for clicks and views.
Yeah.
No.
We planned it this way. We planned it. It's been on schedule for months.
Yeah, this is Shauna. Congratulations, Dev's son. Absolutely, and Shauna, congratulations to your daughter, I believe, too, as well. They graduated. Derek Terry, what's going on?
Hey, Derek Terry, what's going on?
Hey, Derek, we're just doing the follow-up interview. You got the limelight from Zach. So
He scooped you.
yeah, just trying to follow in Derek's footsteps. Nah, great guy. Rick Will back with you, set man, host, moderator, owner, founder, BNY Network. Got our guest here today. Got Zach Ball for School Board, District 1. Zach Ball, round of applause for you. There it is.
Hey, thank you.
Absolutely. Let's backtrack some. I don't want to just hop into it like, all right, you know, tell me what you can do for our kids. No, let's take it back for a second. How was your day? How's the family?
Family's good. My kids just caught COVID. We got so close to the finish line, like a week ago. We're good. They're negative now.
Okay. I was saying, you came over here?
No, yeah, I know. No, the health department told us to quarantine. We did all that, and they're vaccinated, so they were only a little bit sick, and we had have an apartment in our basement that's not being used, so we kind of like put the kids down there, and we were like, hey, have a good time. We'll give you food and stuff like that, and then we'd interact. We'd have masks on, but so me and my wife didn't get sick, but they did. Wife started a new job. She's doing good.
Congratulations.
Kids are playing baseball.
Nice.
And doing roller derby too. My wife's doing roller derby. Shout out to 301 Derby Dames.
Is that they do it at the fairgrounds?
They do it at the fairgrounds. They got a game this weekend.
I may have ran into your wife before because my soccer teams, we practice in the fairgrounds too as well.
Okay.
So times we were coming out of the fairgrounds.
Oh, for
there
sure.
There's roller derby teams going in.
Yeah.
So
definitely then.
yeah. Interesting. It's Charles County. It's so small.
Yeah. It's like 3 degrees of separation in Charles County at best.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. Everybody out there watching, I'm going to say this. I don't have Dev here to do his whole spiel. So if you're watching the show, love the show, share the show. Give us a like too as well. Good for engagement. Good to help us grow. Definitely appreciate it. Carlos, what's going on with you? Pascal, how you doing? Amanda, Saturday night roller derby.
There we go.
Left Witch, what's going on with you? There it is. All the BNY favorites are up in the building to talk to our man Zach Ball. You mentioned family. How many kids? How long you been married for?
I've been actually 10 years. I've been married this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Melissa is amazing. She's a great partner. I could not ask for a better partner.
Well, that's great. Well, how about your wife?
Huh? Oh, you got me. You got. Okay. Yeah, so she's great. I got 2 kids. Linus, he's 8 years old. He's in 2nd grade over at TC Martin, and my boy Bert, who is over at.
Don't mind me. Just work. I literally just left practice and hopped in here.
Yeah, and then my boy Bert, he's
Appreciate it, Derek.
He's 6 years old. He's in kindergarten. So that's the baseball kid.
6 years old, kindergarten. Okay.
Yeah.
Baseball where at?
We're actually doing Waldorf Little League.
Okay.
We started there because I lived in Waldorf before I moved to Hughesville. Lived in Waldorf for about 10 years. And so we liked that league and we stuck with it. And I did some coaching and stuff there too. But this year I switched gears to something else.
What you doing? Oh, of course. Yeah. So have you still been able to catch the games or is it too much campaign?
No, I've definitely been able to be at my kid's game. Honestly, work has gotten in the way of that more than the campaign has, because family's first. So
absolutely,
unless it's something that I need to do for my job to make sure food's on the table, I'm going to be at those baseball games.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, obviously we started a little bit late. I came from practice, so
yeah.
But I appreciate you being so flexible too as well. Hey, Derek, watch this real quick. There it is. Boom. There it is. So the thing is, I saw Charles County Board of Education candidate. I was like, all right, bet, but I forgot we had Sean in here last week. So hey, it happens. It happens. I appreciate everybody in the comment section for keeping us keeping us right. So definitely thank you for that.
Shauna, hashtag NKOTB. That's so me, Shauna, and Nicole Kramer been working together on our campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're calling ourselves New Kids on the Board.
Oh, hey.
That's our little branding for that.
She said that last week when I said District 1 for Zach Ball.
Oh, I do owe you a jam session.
Derek Tennessee would be out on campaign, but Zach gonna be a jam session. What's going on with that? Talk to me.
I'm a musician too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I grew up playing drums and guitar. Did a few piano lessons with my friend, but I'm not so good at that. But yeah, and I also conduct orchestras and stuff like that for local theaters, which is really fun.
Oh, really? What local theaters we're talking about?
So Port Tobacco Players, I've done a bunch over there.
Oh,
I've
really?
done some stuff down at Newtown Players. Yeah, I stay busy. So yeah, I did, and I'll do theater from time to time too. Actually, this weekend I'm going to be building set for Newtown Players down in Lexington Park. They're doing Something Rotten. I've designed the set for them, and so part of that's going actually, besides drawing it, is going and building it. So I got some work to do.
When's the next time that you're doing a show?
Ooh, good question. I don't know.
After the election?
Yeah, it's going to be a minute. Yeah, I got some stuff to get squared away, but
okay.
Yeah, no, I couldn't tell you. It's going to be a minute.
Hey, all good. You got some things to do here, so yeah, I would definitely love to check that out too as well. Hell, Port Tobacco's Players. I'd love to do a live podcast there. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? So.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, they definitely have a good venue for that kind of thing.
Yeah, right. We'll talk on the back end with this too as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So, all right, Zach, you ready to do this?
Sure, let's go.
All right, everybody, get your comments in there too as well as far as questions you have for Zach. Obviously, we'll read them and we go from there. So, platform is very simple, very straightforward. So that's some fun, man.
All right.
So, Zach Ball, background. You teach as far as education, degrees.
Sure.
How did you get to where you're at right now?
Yeah, so right now I am an engineer for the Navy. I work down at Pax River.
One time for Pax River. Absolutely.
I've been in this county since 2000. I moved here. I was a Navy brat, so I moved here, went to Matthew Henson Middle School, and then Lackey High School, graduated in 2007. And then I worked for many years until about 2011, remember when the tsunami hit Japan?
Right.
And they thought the nuclear reactors were going to go? Well, at the time, I was a technician for the Marines out in Indian Head, CBRF, Chemical Biological Incident Response Force, and they deployed for that. And they were sort of the contingency plan in case the reactors went. We were going to be there to help decontaminate U.S. citizens and get them back home because, we got a lot of servicemen and women stationed over there. And then once we got them processed, we were going to welcome the Japanese to come through our decon lines too and get them out of there. in the case that something really, really bad happened. That was kind of a inciting incident for me, indication that I need to kind of start thinking about bigger and better things and what I want to do with my life, because it could be gone in a second. So I went and started getting my degree. With the money, I made a little bit extra money because I was a contractor while I was over there, and so I used that as a nest egg. My company didn't provide tuition, but they did tuition reimbursement. So I was able to kind of keep reinvesting that money until I got my associate's degree from CSM. And I was working towards a program they have with NavAir that if you get the right grades and you take the right classes, you automatically get enrolled in the mechanical engineering program at University of Maryland, and you can apply for an internship with NavAir. So I got my grades, got the classes done, and went and got my degree at UMD, and I've been with the Navy ever since.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very busy man. All over. So how does that translate to everything you worked on as far as, engineering, Navy, Marines, to running for school board?
So I just think I have a different way of looking at problems, and I think that could be useful right now. We've had a really difficult last couple of years. The main platform thing I'm focused on is just to stop the bleeding. And what I mean by that is just people leaving the school system. I don't just mean teachers. I don't just mean, administrators. I'm talking IAs, building service workers, bus drivers, students and their parents. If we want to have a strong public school system in Charles County, we got to address those issues like right away, because there's too many people who are very willing to take those people from us to go and do other things. And I think the way I approach problems and try to look for simple solutions or what, take a look at and leverage what other school systems are doing, see how they can apply here in Charles County. I think I got a good mind for that. And so I want to try and help where I can. People always talk about needing more dads in schools, and you don't get more dad in school than me showing up here today to try to get on the school board and do what I can.
Okay. Shout out to dads in school too as well. They cleaned up a lot of things. All right. So lastly, like we do here, we like to go to the comment section, so we keep going back and forth. I got a few things we run through, your whole setup, your campaign, all that, and obviously we talk to the comments. So Pascal, it's something we talked about in pre-production, you and me, as far as we have to talk about La Plata High School and the kids that put up a Confederate flag on the flagpole today. How can we make sure all the school? Well, those are two parts. So let's stay right here with La Plata High School kids that put up a Confederate flag on the flagpole today. So I just got out of practice not too long ago, and I saw a headline that said this, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
So if we can elaborate some more, what exactly took place, if you're more so privy to some information?
I mean, the only information I have is that right now is that it happened. They don't know who did it. They're supposedly looking into it. They should be able to figure it out, I would imagine. I know they got cameras all over the schools, but who knows what quality they are and if they're going to be willing to go after somebody with little evidence. But it's just it's so disappointing. I think when I moved here from Florida, because I lived in Jacksonville, Florida before I lived here, so I was close to a kind of an urban center, and I was in a military part of town because there's two bases right between where I lived. So it was a good melting pot there. And when I moved to Charles County, I definitely noticed that things were more segregated, just in general, the way people interacted. I thought things were getting better as I was coming up. When I first got here, it seemed like it was getting better over the years, but now it seems like we're definitely taking a step back. I don't know what's to blame, but we got to talk to our kids, and we got to make sure that they know that that's not acceptable. I'd like to think that the individual who did this was really just trying to get a rise out of people and make people angry, knowing that they'd get attention for it. But it's not funny, and they need to explain to that person, whoever it was, why it's not funny. And we got to do more. We got to do more as parents to try to address that and explain what weight that really holds with people. I think there's been some mixed messaging from important people about what's acceptable in our discourse, and that can't be tolerated.
So First of all, I agree with every single word you just said too, as well. What I don't understand with this whole thing is that did it happen? I mean, we all know what La Plata High School is at.
Yeah,
it's on the side of a busy road. So did it happen during the day, like, or at night sometime, and it was just there in the morning?
That's the story that's kind of been told.
I can see it happening at 4 p.m.
Yeah. So the story that's being told is that ROTC went out there to do their normal colors operation that they do at the beginning of the school day.
Okay.
And they found it.
So it was like a 1 a.m. job.
Yeah.
Something like that, some late night work.
So it might not have even been a kid at the school. It could have just been anybody in Charles County. So, whoever it was, we're better than this in Charles County. We got to be better than this in Charles County.
100%. Let's get to some of these comments right here. All right, let's see what we have here. Pascal, I'm going to come back to you. Second half of the question. Leftwich was agreeing with, I believe, your point earlier with the school system, people leaving. All right, so Amanda, an alleged senior prank, not funny. No, not at all. Derek, we don't know if it was kids or adults. Either way, I'm not surprised. And he's right. I mean, we don't know exactly who was the culprit at this point.
For sure.
But Derek says that, and I'm not surprised that this has happened. Derek, I want you to elaborate more on that too as well, just for context of the podcast.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole, how you doing? Erica, what do you think the consequence for type of action should be? All right, so a couple things here. So obviously, as an adult, you're a school board. You're not going to have anything with that. That's going to be
the police need to be involved with that.
Yeah. Now let's say if it is a 16-year-old student, your District 1, school board education sitting there in the seat. How would you handle the situation?
So there's a lot of context that needs to go into it, but at the end of the day, it's unacceptable, right? So something needs to happen, something needs to be done, and they need to be talked to. Their parents need to be brought in. It's a big deal. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't just be boys will be boys or whatever, anything like that. They need like this. They need to be. They need to understand the weight of what they're saying and what their actions do to other people and what that means to other people. Mm-hmm. That needs to be made. They need to be educated first and foremost about what that means if they don't already know already. And either way, a suspension or something like that would not be completely out of line. But I do think that work needs to be done to make sure that that person understands, if it is a student, the gravity of the situation, and they're properly educated about what that means. Because there's a lot of people who buy into the South's lost cause kind of thing, that that flag doesn't really represent racism. It represents states' rights and things like that. Mm-hmm. But you can't decouple that from what it was really about. And they need to be aware of it.
It's funny you say that, and I always say states' rights to do what.
Right, exactly, and that's it's the easiest. It's very easy logic to shut down, but the kid needs to be educated about it if it is a kid, and so they need that extra education. They need to get kind of squared away on that, and then they maybe have them volunteer somewhere in a community that's predominantly people of color or something like that, so thinking that is a joke and that is funny is a gateway to dehumanizing your fellow man. Mm-hmm. And so they need to be made aware of the people that they're affecting's humanity. Mm-hmm. And so I think, if I were king for a day, I'd be like, no, you need to come with me. We need to go. You need to broaden your horizons. We need to expose you to the broader parts of your community so that you know that this isn't right and why it's not right.
Mm-hmm. And for the record, that's only if it's a child or a student. Yeah. So let's say that, let's keep on that, because that's where we're just going with it. How can Charles County educate, the school system educate someone to have a different set of mind here? Now, this is a lot that I'm asking.
They just got to expose people to different ideas. They just got to make sure that there's enough inclusive programs happening to where they interact with a lot of different people. There's grown folks in this county who have never left this county, and so this is all they know. Mm-hmm. We're about half and half fairly rural county, so that type of lifestyle is not uncommon. But the way you combat those kind of ideas is exposing people to broader horizons and making sure that they interact with that and understand it.
Mm-hmm. More of a melting pot. Involved out in the community service.
I've just seen so many people who started off very narrowly and had their worldviews shaken by experiencing more of the world, and I think that's important.
You know what? It's wild you say that. Hold on a second. I'm going to text my wife. I'm going to bring you that water, too, as well.
Oh, appreciate it.
Bring a water. Hold on one second, everybody. Bring a water. Baby. Exclamation. Kissy face. No, I didn't do all that. Let's keep the podcast running. No, so military, me, 10 years, Air Force. Been in a lot of places. Obviously, you have people there from small town, North Dakota. Myself, Maryland, PG County. You know, grew up, also going up and down the East Coast. So I'm going to get back to this comment in a second. So for me, I got to see a lot of the world, just from my parents, going, different places, whatnot. But someone from a very small town, it's the first time for a lot of them seeing different people, different, minority groups.
Sure.
So there's definitely a culture shock. But one thing that to do is it's two things I've seen the military can do. And we'll get back to here is that it can either grow your horizons or you can become more entrenched into who you are, where you're comfortable with. I've seen people completely open up. And they're some of my best friends to this day, just from our different experiences and us talking back and forth and, just open our cultures up to each other, which I think is a beautiful thing. So circle back around, not about me, but your answer is that if to solve this problem is to get individuals into the community and getting working with, being comfortable, being uncomfortable with, groups, individuals they may never interacted with.
Yeah.
That could go a long way.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we can do that. We can do that. We don't.
It's something worth trying.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
I don't know if it's in place yet, but.
Well, so one thing I'll say is Dr. Navarro, if you haven't seen her strategic plan yet, it's really solid, and she did a lot of good work to involve the community in developing it. But one of the things she talked about is trying to hire more diverse staff. Mm-hmm. And I think that could go a really long way, too. So, we need to do inclusive programs for the students, but for the staff at all levels as well. So I think that's one of the ways you could do it. If folks are seeing different types of people in these positions of authority, more or less, right? Because if you're a kid and there's an adult at the school, they're an authority figure, then that helps expose them to it.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's my kids right there. Can you catch? Hey, you dropped this. Could cost you the election.
I know. Let's go. I didn't even let it hit the mic.
No, that's a good answer. So that's something I'm definitely okay.
Yeah, I'll probably come back to Dr. Navarro's strategic plan a lot because there's things that I was already thinking about, when I was developing my platform. Then when she came out with her plan, I was like, oh, yep, that's on there. Great. So I'm really excited Dr. Navarro's here for the county. I think she can do a lot of good if she is able to get the proper support she needs.
Okay, and that will obviously come from the Board of Education.
The Board of Education, but the whole community, right? So
I agree.
A lot of these things that we want to do are not free, as Derek Terry likes to point out. So, it's... you said I'm a kisser. Anyway, we were talking about the strategic plan and getting it implemented. A lot of the things that we want to get done in the schools is going to cost money. And the way the funding works,
There's a lot of money going to schools now.
There's a lot of money going to schools now. The budget looks nice, but we all know that we got a long way to go in terms of what we want to see in our schools. I mean, the second biggest trailer park in Nanjemoy is Mount Hope Elementary School. I'm just kidding, but you know what I'm saying. Like, we got a lot of work to do.
Nanjemoy always finds a way into podcasts. But
well, not. I mean,
and for safety reasons too, as well. That can't be. Yeah. That can't be. You can't have kids in trailers, but
there's a lot of work to do to expand our schools, and those things cost money. So it's not just the school board supporting Dr. Navarro's plan. We got to get parents involved because they wield a lot of power, and the school board wields a lot of power in influencing those parents because many people in the county, they don't know who their commissioner is, but they know who their board of education rep is. And, as a Board of Education member, part of my job to represent you is going to encourage you to be an activist for your own child, and tell you when it's appropriate to go and talk to the commissioners and when's that time to go and shake that tree and try to get that funding that we need for these programs that we want to get for these kids.
There it is. Let's read some of these comments. Let's get back to it. Let's scroll up. Everybody, just keep your comments coming. Keep your comments coming. We talked about Erica. Mind you, not one current school board member has spoken about what happened at La Plata. Is that just a thing with as far as Charles County politics and people in office that they just don't speak unless asked to?
You know, I don't know. Like I try to stay engaged and try to stay informed, and a lot of times you ask questions and you don't get answers, and that what Zach Ball is in your court. It means two things.
Hey.
Like, I'm here for you, okay? I'm here to represent my constituents, but there's two parts to that, right? So if you want me to be there to represent you, you got to vote. So that's my shameless plug. Get out and vote. So the ball is literally in your court. If you want to, hit it back, hit me over in the Board of Education.
The man's
seat.
metaphors,
You know
man.
Oh, hey.
Anyway,
no, but seriously, I don't know why people are afraid to speak out on it. It to me, well, I have my feelings about why it's hard, but it's like, gosh, 8 years ago, it would have been a political slam dunk to say we shouldn't be hanging Confederate flags outside our schools.
now you're saying it's a debate.
Now it's like, oh, I don't want to make any.
I don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah, but it's just like. It's like, look, that's a racist symbol. At the end of the day, it's a racist symbol, and just because some people are misguided about what it actually means, it doesn't matter. Even if let's say this, even if in some alternate universe, right, slavery didn't happen, and the South just decided to go its own way because it wanted to, and we fought a war, and it came back, and whatever, they had that flag, and we're all one country now. And then some group decides to adopt that symbol to represent a hateful movement. Mm-hmm. Then you gotta get rid of that symbol. You can't have it. Like I'm not saying ban it, right? Freedom of speech is absolute, and I agree with that. But you got to fight bad ideas. But to say that it's acceptable in the public discourse and say that it's an acceptable idea to hold, once the symbol has been co-opted, you got to be careful about how you use it and when it's acceptable to use it and how you talk about it. And so it can't be something that's joked about. So I guess all of that is to say is that even if it was a state, it represents states' rights to you. For other people, they intend that to be a racist symbol. Mm-hmm. And you have to take that into account when you do that, because you're sending a signal out to other people that you agree with that on some level. Mm-hmm. You share something in common with those people on some level.
There it is. Let's keep with these comments. Terrorist acts are not a prank. Agreed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the only crime committed was trespassing.
Yeah.
As far as Derek Terry. Trespassing school property. We'll see how it goes. Erica, I'm just going as well, trying to see who I need to vote for. Hey, we say balls in your court, right?
Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, please, Erica.
I think we talked about the hate crime part of that too, so we kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
States' rights to do what? There you go, Pascal. 2022, people choose not to do better at this point. Erica.
Yes.
Pascal, loved your answer too as well. Talking about that point. Pascal, Rick, we talked about this. Yes, we have. Oh, everybody shot Jenny as far as the water. 4 years. Army, thank you, Amanda, for your service. Shauna, thank you very much. Derek Terry talking here. I'm read some of this. This looks a little important. Not saying it's more important than anyone else, but this adds some more context, kind of what you were talking about too as well. And Leftwich down here. La Plata historically has the lowest number of minority students for a reason. Being a municipality has strategic advantages and allows for a controlled population in regards to new homes and who homes are sold to. You have some that are part of the old way of doing things and won't accept change. Change is going to happen whether some like it or not. More embrace diversity versus embracing division.
Yeah. I agree. That last statement does give me hope. And I think, that's, you're right. There's an element of that to it. But you could, I got into a conversation with some folks earlier this week. They were talking about the apartments being built off of, I think, Old Washington Road, because they're going to have some HUD units, allocated in those apartments, and people were talking about, oh, it's going to bring more traffic and the wrong kind of crowd and stuff like this. And I'm like, our teachers need that. Most teachers in this county, they either have a roommate or a spouse to make sure they can make ends meet. And so
wife's a teacher.
You know, people have the wrong idea about those kinds of things, and you're right. So there's people in the La Plata community group specifically who are against it. But to Derek's point, more people in that group were like, no, you're wrong about that thing, about the kind of crowd those houses are going to bring. People need that in this county. Good, hardworking people need that in this county. So that was hopeful to me. You know, the initial comment that started the conversation wasn't great, but more people were commenting, hey, no, you're wrong about that, than were supporting it. So I think more people are embracing diversity as we speak in our community.
Yeah, another thing too as well is that as far as jobs go, there's all sorts of levels of jobs that you have here. So you need all sorts of levels of housing.
Yeah, and we need and mixed use housing and apartments and that kind of thing. If we want to keep traffic and stuff like that down and not overload our infrastructure, like that's the kind of housing we need to do that. Things that are going to be less car dependent. But
yeah, and I mean, newsflash: Charles County is growing.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop.
Yep.
So let's keep it going. Leftwich is a clear division in Charles County, especially the new neighbors and the old neighbors. Yeah, we talked on that too as well. That new neighbor by Dr. Horton on Charles Street would change that. The plan is fired. Nicole talking about Navarro's plan. Let's scroll down some more. Pascal, teacher bias is real. Bias is part of being human. More training support for our educators to recognize it and work on it. Let's talk on that real quick. Let's take a turn from talking Confederate flags in La Plata. Teacher bias. You want to speak on that some?
Yeah. I mean, bias is a hard thing for people to realize they're doing. And you're right. And training is the only way to do it. We got to educate our educators, right? So, but that stuff costs. So that stuff costs money, right? And so that's the whole thing. Is like we need to bring people in and teach them how to be advocates. Everybody wants their kids to be successful in school. Well, most people want their kids to be successful in school, right? And I believe that a lot of the teachers and staff that are here currently still want to be here. Otherwise, they'd leave. A lot of my friends who were teachers, have found jobs other places because they make more money with way less stress. And you can't fault them for it. And Derek Terry will be the first one to tell you he wouldn't go back for $100,000 salary, because the stress that you have to deal with as a teacher. But one of the incentives we can give to our teachers and staff is investing in them and showing that we care about them. So it's not just about buying nice new things for the classroom. It's making sure that we show them that we value them. And by giving them that training and giving those opportunities to be better at their job, which most teachers want to do, most professionals want to be better at their job if they can. We got to give them those tools, and so we got these programs where people are getting their teaching certificates and they get a small stipend towards their getting their full master's and getting certified. Those are people who are in the county right now trying to be better at their job. Like, let's get them the tools that they need, whether that's money or time off work or whatever, to be able to do that. We want those teachers who are trying to actively be better at their jobs. And anti-bias training is another one of those things that is we need to do that. And these master's programs and things like that, I'm certain they have cultural sensitivity type trainings and things like that.
Okay, we'll go from there. And and as far as the money thing too as well, obviously we mentioned that budget just passed and schools, Charles County schools, they do have money to make sure that it's being correctly, that the resource being correctly allocated. Definitely. So, but that's we'll get into that. Let's keep going from here. Not today, Pasco. Man, you got to vote right here. Yeah. Joshua Torres, what's going on with you? This bias amongst everyone to a certain extent. I think keeping an open mind prevails in the end. I believe that too as well. And everyone has a little bit. I mean, everybody does have some kind of bias, but you want to make sure that using logic and the truth in front of you to make a sound decision.
Definitely, but it's also kind of it borders along the lines of emotional intelligence, right? And being keyed in with yourself and understanding when you're having an emotion and you're reacting to it. Because biases sometimes act in the same way as emotions do. A bias doesn't necessarily define a person's true intent or heart, just like emotions don't truly define us at any given moment. They are feelings but you have to be aware of the feelings that you're having in order to correct them. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I think it's borderline emotional intelligence. And I think if we did more in our schools to develop those skills, they could be addressed in the same way.
There you go. Elect Stacey Lynn. Stacey, what's going on with you? District 4 Commissioner candidate. Maybe the Board of Education wants to investigate before announcing anything. Well,
yeah.
I'll put it like this. Let's say that I came home to my house and there was some hate symbol in my yard that was there. And all my neighbors saw it. First time I'm like, look, this doesn't represent me. All right. I ain't do this. No one here did this. I'll find out who did it. I wouldn't see that, look at it, and be like, huh, and just walk into my house and not say anything.
Yeah.
I'll at least, take care of the issue and go from there. So I think the same thing here at the Board of Education. It happened on school property. I'm like, hey, look, we don't know who did this. We don't co-sign it. We're going to figure it out. So saying something's always better than saying nothing. Saying
something's free. There's no cost associated with that.
Yeah.
So they should, bare minimum it would be. So investigate before maybe doing anything.
Before accusing anybody anything.
Before accusing anything,
yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
But,
yeah, absolutely.
But just saying, hey, we're aware of it. We're looking into it. Completely inappropriate. We'll get back to you. That's all you got to say.
That's it. Yeah, I'm asking, hey, you got 24 hours to solve this case. No, it's going to take some time. Look at cameras, get the police involved, and we'll see what happens from there in the next couple of days. Ooh.
Yeah,
all right.
Mike said the same thing.
Yeah, Leftwich said that. Leftwich, I have a flag. This man, Leftwich. Love this guy right here. Leftwich, you got to get you on the podcast, too, as well, if you're down for that. Let's keep going. Leftwich says she likes you. District 4 is hurting.
Yanel Morley, you should look into her. She's running for your rep. I've seen some good things on her pages and stuff like that. Definitely worth looking into if you're in District 4.
What's the name again?
Yanel Morley.
Okay, District 4. There it is. Amanda, the silence is very loud. Well, saying something, like you said, saying something is free. Let's see. They're having a conversation back and forth in the comment section. AJ, also Honeyman, how you doing? Happy birthday.
How's it going?
Torres, or teachers pick up 2 jobs, and that's not something we want our teachers to do. Work all day with the kids and go to a second job just to make ends meet.
Yeah, we gotta do better. We gotta do better by all of our county staff.
Leftwich, teachers need higher pay. Need someone to speak on and make it happen.
Hey, I'm trying. And if I get in there, Michael, I'm gonna be hitting you up. Hey, it's time to go to the Board of Commissioners. We gotta go talk to him.
Well, he's already said he's gonna be security for somebody. So
okay.
Yeah. Let's see, Stacey. It's near impossible to work in Charles County and afford to live here, as far as jobs.
Yeah, it's tough. And so there's bigger issues at play that I think that play into it than a school board level, and we could talk about it if you want to. But
so we got a couple of things here. Erica, talking about commissioners coming on. Working some things behind the scenes. As soon as I know something, you'll know something. That's a promise. All right, we keep going down here. We'll keep scrolling down. Conversation back and forth. I'm going through the comments, everybody. Yeah, I keep talking through there.
Good chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I love it. I love when the conversations ain't talking with themselves too as well. All right, we're gonna pause right there. So, question for you: talk to me about your campaign? What's going on? Give me some things that you're trying to push as far as school board.
So we've got a couple events coming up that be great for people to come out. I've really been trying to the kind of so what attracted me to reach out to Nicole and Shauna in the first place is I was watching Nicole how she managed her campaign, and a lot of what she was doing just seemed smart to me. She wasn't necessarily just doing like typical campaign stuff and fundraising, posting signs everywhere. She was actually getting out there in community and trying to do good and trying to set an example. And my a couple of my friends and my wife recommended I talk to her, and because what she's been doing throughout our campaign is just finding opportunities to volunteer. And so I've been trying to do the same thing. So I've been doing a bunch of career days at the schools. Did 3 different schools, career days. I got a event this weekend that's kind of a work thing, but it's involved with the schools, but it's volunteering and just like trying to be more engaged with the community and volunteer, like the painting thing that we did over in Phoenix Run.
Fantastic job, by the way.
Yeah, big shout out to Donald Ely. He's I should shout out all my folks helping me with my campaign right now. So obviously my wife, number one, because anytime I'm away from the house, she's picking up the load for me. So
that's Melissa, right?
Melissa, yes. And there's also my father-in-law, Rich Gilpin, my sister-in-law, Liz Mildenstein. They're both helping me manage my campaign, and Donald Ely's doing all the design work for me, and he's just fantastic. So big shout-outs to those folks. Those are all really great people that you guys should get to know.
That's great. That's great. So let's fast forward to the future. All right. Zach Ball wins D1, Charles County Board of Education. What is your plan as far as students go? Let's talk about a few things. Break down a couple tenets.
Sure.
What's your take on bullying?
I mean, so we're having our bullying forum, and God, unfortunately, what I'm learning is that we're well beyond bullying right now in the school. Because like when I think bullying, it's more of a pattern of behavior and it's teasing. We're downright violent in some of these situations that I've been hearing, and these parents have been reaching out to me, and it's really sad and frankly scary because I got kids in the school system, and I try to teach them right and stuff like that, but you can't control everybody else's kids. But one thing that I've been reading up on a lot about and looking into a lot, it's a adaptation of the Comer method. So I'm an engineer, so when I hear about a problem, I go and try to research it and find out other systems that work, and look for models that can be applied to our problem, right? Mm-hmm. So whether it's a math model or a strategy to education, that's kind of my approach to this, right? So I was trying to find things that have been used to help schools that are dealing with behavior issues and violence and things like that. And one thing that my friend put me on to was the whole child method, which is an adaptation of the Comer method. Comer method was developed in South Jersey, I think, in the 60s or 70s, and basically has been written about and researched because he went into these 3 schools that were really struggling with behavior issues and everything, and got them on the right track. And he just kept popping around from school to school doing this, and they're like, everybody was just like, okay, teach us your ways. And they did, and it was working. And it was working. And it continued to work even after he left. So it was a strong system. So
could you break it down for us?
I'm going to. I'm getting there. So
okay.
I'm getting there.
I apologize.
I got a spiel.
Yeah.
So hey.
hey, floor is yours, my friend. Please.
All right. So they took this method, and they've been working on it and researching it for years, and it's been implemented in thousands of schools. And the latest adaptation of it's called the whole child method. And the whole child method is based on 5 pillars. In order for a student to be successful in a school system, they need to feel safe. They need to be healthy. They need to be challenged. They need to be engaged, and they need to be. Oh God, I always drop a 5th one. Anyway, so the theory is if they're not getting any one of these 5 things from these 5 pillars, they're gonna struggle in school one way or another, whether that's by acting out or safe, health. This is gonna bother me. Safe, healthy, protected. Somebody in the comments, if you know it, call it out. Neglect. Anyway, engage. So if they're missing these things, and this is a system, this is a curriculum. Like I don't have to have this memorized. There's books written on it. We go to the school board and I'm saying, hey, let's try this. Let's pick one of these schools in our county that's really struggling and go all in on this and see what happens. So you have these 5 tenets, and it has a prescribed method on how you map out different things in the schools to make sure that if they're not getting those things at home, because it's really a community approach, but the idea is that the school is able to try and fill those gaps. They know what their target is. If there's a problem with this kid, it's one of these 5 things. Let's make sure there's a tool at the school to address it. right? And they give all kinds of different ways in these methods on how you can do that. And so I think that's one of the things that I'd be pushing hard for.
Would that create a new position in the school? Somebody to actually overlook this curriculum?
I don't know, because there's a lot of folks who have been put in positions like that already as administrators at the Board of Ed level. So it might be an addition or an adaptation to one of those positions.
Okay. So it's an addition to the curriculum.
Yeah, it's not a curriculum for students per se. It's
Right,
a
right.
method to be implemented by the folks in charge.
Okay. And there's nothing as far as that in place now.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, some schools might be doing it on their own,
Right.
but I don't think that there's necessarily any official program kind of centered around addressing that.
I know there's a lot of like redirecting, or obviously school counselors too as well.
Yeah, but the
But-
school counselors don't have enough hours in the day right now to deal with all the problems that they're seeing.
Yeah.
So
I know.
the other plan I'd like to implement, it's called the Hope Squad. So I'm also a big NPR nerd. Shout out to my NPR nerds if you're in the chat. It's something I heard on there. So, as I talk, you'll probably hear me say a lot of things like, oh, I heard about this on NPR. It sounded like a great idea. Let's see if it works. Anyway, so what Hope Squad is a peer-to-peer mentoring program. Way it works is the student body identifies some candidates to be peer-to-peer counselors. And the idea behind that is that it's not like the goody two-shoe kids that are volunteering for everything that the school system really likes. It's the kids that they feel like they can trust, right? So the students have buy-in, right? Mm-hmm. And so then once those kids are identified, for a semester or two, they get a special curriculum. Again, this is not something that we got to make up or write. There's a program. We take their materials and we adopt it and try to implement it. So they go through this curriculum, and then they work with the counselors in the schools to get certified to be these peer-to-peer counselors. And so once they get that certification, they're a resource now for the teachers and the students. If they're having an issue, the students know they can go to this person, or the teachers know that they can refer students to this person. And part of their training is knowing when a line has been crossed and they need to. So when we talk about interventions, and you were talking about stuff with Shauna last week about like the side and things like that, they know they're taught the warning signs on when things are going too far and when it's time to involve a professional. Because we talk about getting more mental health awareness and treatment in the schools, but the whole industry is struggling to find counselors, right? Getting an appointment at a psychiatrist right now is like crazy, right? That's why BetterHelp is so popular right now, right? Because they can do it from anywhere, and it's counselors. It's not necessarily a licensed physician. Anyway, with the industry of mental health struggling to keep up with the demand right now, there's little hope that we're going to get that kind of help in school. So we're going to have to find creative ways to address these problems. And I think that that's a good one that we could look at trying to implement.
Okay. Hey, whoever we can do as far as now, because the path we're on right now obviously isn't working. I mean, we already some of these comments too as well. I've been taking a look, and it's obviously people not happy. I mean, I have my own stories too as well. So, and I think Derek Terry had a good point here. He said that, I mean, whether you win or not, definitely stay involved in the community so we could push these things.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I know there's been a lot of y'all been talking amongst yourselves here. So here's a comment for Shauna. Anti-Bullying Community Resource Forum next week, May 25th. Waldorf West Library. Shauna, can you give us a time too as well? Or Zach, do you know the time?
5 p.m. Yeah.
5 p.m. 5 to 7.
5 to 7.
Okay, good. Because I got the bus drivers coming on at 8 o'clock. So.
Good for the
works.
bus drivers. I'm glad they got their union.
I'm glad we finally got a day to get them on here. Yeah, it's very, very, very exciting times for them. Let's keep scrolling down here. Let's see. Joshua Torres. Kids need to be suspended for bullying incidents then expelled. Yeah, I know we don't expel kids. So the suspension. So I've heard this from a lot of teachers. A lot of the tools that they previously had to deal with behavior issues they no longer have, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. But I think so one of the big reasons the schools don't like to do suspensions is past a certain point,
it's not super effective because some kids are like, fine, I just could be home now.
Yeah, I'm staying home, play my Switch.
Yeah, like what?
Fortnite.
Oh, you mean great? I don't have to come here and like see all of you. Awesome. Anyway, I mean, because I was not a Boy Scout when I was younger, so like suspension sometimes is like sweet vacation. But like that's the attitude. So it's not necessarily super effective, but there's also some legal constraints to suspending kids past a certain amount. So I think it's past 9 days. Anytime this kid is suspended after 9 days, the school has to provide individual instruction for that student hour for hour. So if they get a half day suspension after those 9 days, they got to pay a teacher to sit with that kid for 4 hours so they can make stuff up. And so that's one of the things that disincentivizes people from using suspensions. But I think we could do is invest more in our virtual learning environment and use that as a tool for suspension. So now you're not suspension, you're a virtual student. Because you have more control over a virtual student when they're acting out. You put them on mute. You can turn their camera off, but they still have to be there. Mm-hmm. And to me, if we design it well enough, and it's equitable enough, right, so that they're still getting an education, like the education is still being provided efficiently, right? Because obviously the problems with all of these punitive programs is that they can then be used to target certain groups. We don't want that. We don't want this teacher just doesn't like this kid, so they'll just suspend them 9 times, and now they're a virtual school and they're not my problem anymore, right? But I do think it could be a useful tool on a case-by-case basis to have a virtual option for students that are causing problems or maybe a danger to themselves or others.
And it's also Steedham too as well.
There's Steedham too.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think creatively, and like we've shown over the last 2 years that virtual works for some people. So maybe we invest more in that, differentiated instruction is also important. So it's basically this is along the inclusivity line. A lot of people learn differently and learn better in other environments. So having learned over the last 2 years that some kids are thriving in the virtual environment, that's one way that we can be more inclusive, is investing in those programs. And we're already starting to, but I think it is a tool that could be used to solve a couple different problems. Okay.
Let's keep going from there. Comment section. Amanda, I'm going back a little bit on this. They did nothing when Charles County Public Schools, did nothing when my daughter got slapped with a piece of lunch meat in school. Good Lord. If I wouldn't have shown up to the school, I think it would have been brushed under the rug.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, Amanda.
Yeah,
it's
definitely
ridiculous.
Definitely sorry. That's crazy.
So the whole brush under the rug thing, and this goes back to a little bit of my story, which I told in the podcast, is that I told it to Shauna, I believe, last 2 weeks ago, is that it's a lot of loopholes and not loopholes, but a lot of loops you have to go through in order to kind of prove or get something done as far as bullying.
Yeah.
There's paperwork you have to fill out online or digital paperwork, some kind of box on a couple boxes you got to fill out, description of the incident on the Charles County Public School website. Then from there, you wait about 48, 72 hours, someone gets back to you. And even then, nothing could happen.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to physically just remove the student from the class. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think what you're trying to do here, so you're trying to get to more of the root cause of the problem, the cause, than responding to the effect of the issue.
Well, right. Otherwise, we'll always be chasing our tails.
And that's the thing, too, as well. Absolutely.
One thing that we get the packets at the beginning of the school year, but part of the reason we're doing the forum next week is to address that very issue, right? Not a lot of people know what's available to them to address these types of issues, which is why we're having this kind of, because it's an anti-bullying community resource forum. Mm-hmm. So part of what we're doing is showing not only what the steps are you need to take and trying to educate people on how they can kind of force the school to address it, short of just showing up to the school, which, yeah, you got to do that too. But there, what are the appropriate steps? Because knowing how to navigate those systems, which aren't always intuitive, is a roadblock to getting things dealt with. But I think the other thing that could help is trying to we got to get more people involved in the school system overall if we want it to be successful. So they got like the PPW programs and the Dads in School group over at Westlake and stuff like that.
How are they doing, the Dads in School at Westlake?
I only just heard about it this year. It looked like it was just kicking off. And I think I remember seeing stuff a couple years ago where they were starting to kick it off, but it was like COVID hit and then it was like no volunteers. So it looks like they're doing good things, though. I've seen some pictures and stuff like that, and definitely encourage those guys to keep doing that, and we need more of that. But I think the more we get the community involved, and the more it becomes a community and not just like so one of the things I noticed talking to people is that there's like these different groups, right? You have the administration, you have the teachers, and you have the parents and guardians, right? And all three of the groups will say the other two aren't supporting them the way they need it. But what we need to do is bridge those gaps, and we need to get those people involved. And the way we do that is just getting folks near each other, whether that means volunteering, whether that means hosting social events, whatever it means. We got to get folks at least in proximity to each other, because then hopefully they start talking. And it's kind of like we were talking earlier with the bias and race. It's like they need to expose themselves to each other so that they know that there's a human on the other side of this conversation. And then maybe we'll get more empathy and we'll start trying to work together and we'll become more of a community.
So more ways to connect ourselves, and then they'll get the effect desired that we're looking for.
Yes.
Yeah, I know a lot of teachers don't like the teachers union at all in this county.
Yeah. I
feel like it hasn't done anything for them for years.
Yeah, and it's one thing that I always find interesting, or odd, I should say, about the teachers union is the rules they have in place in terms of what teachers are allowed to speak out about. I think it's hard to know what the teachers actually need if they're not allowed to talk. And
I've heard that too as well. That a lot of teachers, they'll just kind of get beat down, like, hey, shut up. You don't need to do anything with that one. So it depends how much. I mean, there's a lot to it as well, and I don't want to speak for other people. I'm just repeating things that I've heard. So,
hey, Joshua, you're take it slow. Yeah, you're right. I got a lot of big ideas, but you're right. Very few do thrive in the virtual environment, but for those that do, we should try, if it's feasible and we can get it done. We should try to provide those tools for those kids to be successful. That's all I'm saying. And I think, we have some of the infrastructure in place now. I don't think it would take leaps and bounds to get it to a more polished product that could be used widely by the folks who want it.
Joshua also says, nope, teacher union doesn't do shit. I know from firsthand experience. Teachers union. I need to have a conversation. Actually, should have a teachers union representative sitting in that seat right over there next to you. We'll come back to that a little bit later. I got some ideas too as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what were we saying? The home and hospital programs.
Kelly Soretta.
Hi, Kelly. I'm trying to read your comment.
Go ahead.
Who can sign off on mental conditions. It's damn near impossible to get into any licensed psychiatrist, which is the only one who can sign off on for a mental condition. Yeah. But I guess, so I'm not a medical expert, right? So I don't know at what level it makes sense to do that. But if I were to be elected and I'd definitely look into it. And if you came to me with that problem, I would say, okay, well, let me go find some people to talk to and see what makes sense. Because if it's not working for people and people who are needing help aren't getting it, then we definitely got to address it.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to bring in something here. It's going to be, well, just give me a second.
Sure.
Joshua Torres, I'm about to quit my membership. Joshua, I know several teachers have already quit their membership. Save your money. Save your money. So, question for you. So we talk bullying. How would you handle a sexual harassment incident in Charles County schools?
How do you mean? So what are we talking here? What sexual harassment of any kind? Like, are we talking about an employee issue? Are we talking about towards
Students.
Students?
Student.
Student to student? Yeah, that's tough. You know, and again, I would be relying heavily on our school psychiatry staff on that, right? Because that's something that child has learned that needs to be unlearned, and there might be some I don't want to say mental health issues. In any case, it needs to be addressed. That student should be removed from a place to where they could potentially harm other people until some type of assessment needs to be done. Like, we need to pull that kid from the population at least long enough to figure out what's going on with him, why he thought that was okay, and get them the help that they need. Obviously, if they need that help, but. Yeah, I'm not an expert on how to handle those things. I'm not going to pretend to be. So what I would definitely be doing is looking up my roster and seeing who I need to reach out to get help with that.
Okay. Stacy, can you clear up the STEM comment floating around? I'm not sure which comment that is. There's been a couple comments here. I may have missed that one, but if someone can, if the person's still here, that a comment for that one, if they can reiterate it. Or Stacey, you can reiterate it. That'd be great, and we'll definitely tackle it. And Josh told me that just mental health issues. A lot of mental health issues walking around in Charles County Public Schools.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question: interaction with yourself, and as far as teachers, every day, first through or K through 12. You missed a lot, buddy. Y'all having a lot of back and forth conversation. I ain't gonna go back and read all that too as well. There's no way I can do all that and still move the podcast along. So. We'll be here all day going through that. I kind of skimmed through it, looked through it, I'm like back and forth, and I just kind of hit some of the good points. So that's it, Leftwich.
Yeah, definitely hit me with the STEM thing. Obviously as an engineer and musician, artist, I'm interested.
Mental health overall is a problem. Yep. All right, so as far as, God, what was that question? I just had it too as well. All right, I'm gonna come back to that. It'll come back to me. All right, so keep talking to me about your campaign too as well. What other pillars do you stand for? Other things you have as far as policies you're trying to enact for us?
Yeah, I mean, I
appreciate it, Leftwich.
Yeah, so those were the two big ones I'm trying to tackle, because it's the one that we're all talking about is stopping people from leaving and the mental health issues and how to address it, and the bullying, right? So I think it all kind of goes together. I want to bringing people into the community. That's the other thing I'm running in on, and inclusivity in general. This is kind of this is low on the priority list for me, but I think it's worth mentioning. My wife's Jewish. We're raising our kids Jewish. One thing I would like to see done is what Montgomery County and some of the other school systems has done is they've adjusted their winter and spring break so that they could add and be more inclusive of Jewish and Muslim holidays. We have a growing Muslim population and growing Jewish population in the county, and so I think it's worth doing just to show that we're serious and we're here for them. But basically, the way it works is they take a day off of either winter or spring, and they get a day off early in the year to cover Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and then they get a day off in the springtime to cover oh gosh, I'm gonna murder this, but the end of Ramadan, which actually just passed. So if you celebrate, I hope it was a good fast. I think that's what you say on Yom Kippur, is to have a good fast. So I don't know if that translates to Islam and Ramadan.
Hey, I don't know. I ain't touching it. So, all right. So I remember my question now. School board candidate, you win your seat. What is your relationship that you're looking for your teachers? Do you actually plan on being in the classroom or visiting schools, forums? How involved are you going to be to the day-to-day of the teacher?
Yeah, I think that's it's a fine line, right? Like, because I got a day job and they do too, and I definitely want to be out there in the community. I think early on, I'm definitely going to be out there trying to engage with people as much as I can, so they know how to get a hold of me. Because I want them to come to me when there's problems, and I want to try and help them, even if it's just to listen to what their problems are. But to better serve people as a public servant. So sorry, to be a better public servant, I think it's important to be out in the community and be reachable. And that's what I'm running on, is being a reachable candidate. That's part of the slogan. So I need to make sure teachers know me. So yeah, I think early on I'll be kind of popping my head in here and there, but I don't want to step on administrators' toes or be a micromanager. I don't want to claim to be this expert that's going to know how to fix every little problem. But one of the big tips I got from an IA that I spoke with, who was kind of putting me onto some issues that
IA
instructor assistant.
Okay.
They help the teachers. A lot of them are there for special ed students and things like that. But one thing that they were kind of putting me on to is that, well, the administrators get the word that the school board members are coming around and they make sure everything's nice and squared away, and we put the bad kids over here for a little while, and kind of thing. So when I pop in, it's probably going to be unannounced, because that's when you see what's really going on. But yeah, I mean, I want to help. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm not trying to expose somebody for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm trying to help, and I'm trying to help all our kids. So, I need to know what's really happening. And I want to make sure people know that they can get a hold of me and tell me what's really happening, because I can't fix it. This goes into like how I have approached my education and my life as a musician. I call it the strong and wrong approach. It's much better for me if I'm working with you as a music conductor, or even for me if I'm in your orchestra, right? And I will play my part out loud, what I think it's supposed to be, even if it's wrong. That way you can correct me, and then I get better. But if I'm quiet about what I think it is, maybe I sneak by. And so I'm not trying to expose all the issues, but like I need to know what they are if I'm going to fix them. So I want to make sure if I'm in there, I'm getting around and talking to folks, and they know how to get a hold of me. So when they need help, I can hopefully do it. And if I can't do it, I'm going to work on figuring out who it is who can help them.
Okay. And that's a big thing too as well. Like anybody's just sit in your seat on this podcast doesn't have every single answer, but the big part is that at least knowing the resource where to find them. Like you said, community building from there.
Joshua, I'll set you up, man. I see your comment.
As far as those high-paying teaching jobs.
Yeah, well, no, making more money with less hassle. They're not teaching. They're not teaching.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They left the profession, and it's a shame because they were good teachers.
Let's see, Pascal, Daria Butler Washington. She'll be in the podcast sometime in June 23rd. Had a great candid conversation with an expert this week with us about sexual assault, sexual harassment, sexual violence. We did have more tough conversations to be proactive about this very real issue. Pascal, if you can link that conversation, if you haven't, I would definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, Pascal, for sure. You've been helping me with a lot of other stuff, but educate me, help me out.
Nicole, we need more mental health resources utilized in our school. We have resources in the community. They need to be let in.
Yes. Yeah. We've. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
See a conversation about Ramadan here too as well.
Ramadan. I think it was actually April into May this year. It was earlier this year.
It moves from year to year.
It's lunar calendar, so it changes.
Like, look, like I said, I run this podcast to learn stuff myself, so I'll stow that one away.
Liz, thanks for being on. That's my campaign manager.
Oh, nice. Stacy, what would be your relationship with the Board of County Commissioners?
I mean, that they have the purse strings, right? So I'm going to be talking to them very often. I was over there yesterday providing a brief on a legislative proposal that I'm hoping they'll adopt. As you all may know, they have these from time to time, year to year, when they're putting together the legislative agenda for the year. They'll ask for public proposals, and I provided one So that was sort of me introducing myself to the commissioners, and hopefully, if I get elected, they'll remember me from that, and we can start from a good foot, because I did that proposal I presented that proposal partly with the hopes of kind of displaying how I think about problems and what my approach is to determining whether or not it's something we should try in our county.
What was your proposal?
This is a good one. Another one I heard on NPR. It's called Food for Fines. And what it is, different communities. I think Vegas did it. A town in Kentucky did it, and somewhere in the Midwest implemented it too. But basically, the way it worked was if you get like a minor traffic violation or a parking ticket or something like that, it was different for all the municipalities.
Keep talking. I'm trying to hear off.
Yeah, you could decide to pay your ticket with a donation of canned goods instead. And I thought it was a good idea, and so I did some research, and I interviewed Charles County Sheriff's Office about the ATs program. Well, I said, okay, we could do that here in Charles County. What we should apply it to is the cameras in the school zones, right? A lot of people have a negative perception of those machines. They think they're a money grab, things like that. But honestly, talking to the sheriff and the information he was able to give me and the data, they've been effective in what their stated goal is, right? Which is getting people to slow down in the school zones. So, but basically you would take, for a portion of the year, last 30 days of the school year, if you got a ticket from one of these cameras in the school zones, you could decide to pay your ticket either with a donation of canned goods or school supplies of an equivalent dollar amount. And I talked to the local food banks and the Children's Aid Society. I've got all the logistics laying flat. The Charles County Food Bank has a big box truck. So the way it would work is you get the ticket in the mail. You go to the county clerk in the court office, you give them your donation, you give them their ticket, they credit your account, they put the donations in a box behind them or a bin behind them, Toys for Tots style. And then when the box gets full, the clerk rings up the food bank brings their box truck over, picks the stuff up, takes the school supplies to Children's Aid Society. They use that for their backpack giveaway at the beginning of the year. And then now we've got a big surplus of food right in summertime when kids are losing their free and reduced lunch, which is when the food banks in our county tend to not have a lot of food because most of the donations they get right around Thanksgiving and Christmas time. But towards the summer, they have an increased need and not as many donations. So this program would hopefully supplement that. So that's what I proposed to them. They seem to like the idea. They just want to make sure the logistics are laying flat. So we'll see if it goes anywhere. I should hear something back about that sometime after June 7th.
Okay. Hey, let us know too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what
definitely
actually started. That's when you reached out to me, is when I posted about that legislative proposal.
Yeah. I like it. Let's keep reading down. Nicole, instructional assistant. Thank you, Nicole, too, as well. Good. He respects other professionals and trusts them to do their jobs. Joshua Torres likes that. Not like you said, not a micromanager. That's what you signed up for. So, okay. Derek Terry, I like all the ideas from the candidates I've spoken with, but most of these ideas that cost money that Charles County taxpayers will eventually have to pay. I personally don't mind as long as I see an improvement and there's fiscal responsibility. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, me and Derek Terry are in agreement there, and that's why I try to find solutions that are not going to overburden our teachers and can be implemented as cost effectively as possible. In my current job with the government as an engineer for them, being a steward of the tax dollar is in my job description. It is my job to make sure that the stuff that we are building for the warfighter is made as cost effectively as possible and as safely as possible to complete the mission. So paying attention to that and making sure that we're not wasting money frivolously is what I do day to day now, and I will definitely carry over those skills if elected.
Yeah, that's the big thing a lot of people ask. This is a legitimate question, money, paying for it, how much you're burdening that on us. But like Derek Terry said, I don't mind it as long as I see something my money is showing for it.
Yeah.
This still may not feel the same way, but the only way to improve, a lot of every candidate, it costs money. It costs money. You can't stay stagnant forever.
For sure.
We've been in park.
But there's other ways to bring money into the schools without necessarily burdening the taxpayer. I mean, we've got a lot of we're people are always talking about getting kids ready for work, and that means different things for different people. You guys heard my background at the top of the show. I worked for 10 years before I got my first degree, and then eventually got my engineering degree, right? So there's many paths to success. I got my job because my initial job out of high school, because I was a volunteer fireman, right? And so the CCBOE Marines that I was working with, they have a similar mission to a fire department. They're a mass casualty response unit for all kinds of different bad days that we could be having, so to speak. But I spent so much time with the fire department working with that equipment that the Marines also used. I was able to leverage that into a technician job, fixing their equipment, right? Mm-hmm. So there's different things we can do to bring money into the school, right? So if we have these big employers in the county, Indian Head, right, is a prime example. We got a base there. There's Stump Neck. Hopefully they'll change the names of those bases here soon, but we can help. We'll see. Yeah. Big, we'll see. I saw that news.
Yeah,
that was ugly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got Indian Head, we got Stump Neck, and one thing that I think St. Mary's does better than what we do is they have this thing called the Patuxent Partnership, and they have a lot of contractors, and they have in this partnership, and they have a lot of different organizations on base as part of this partnership. And what the Patuxent Partnership is they find ways to go into the school and volunteer their time and help develop their workforce, right? So it's mutually beneficial. So we've got these big employers who want good employees, and they want people from the county in a lot of cases because those people tend to stick around. And if we want people to stick around in the county and our county to grow and be prosperous, these are the kind of things we need to do and need to go after. So we should do something like a Patuxent Partnership with the bases that we have here in our schools. And I think there's an interest in that. I don't know that it's happened fully yet, but I would definitely be looking to nurture those kind of relationships too, because it's not just government stuff that we could be partnering with. There's other employers through the county that we can say, hey, we want to develop a program that's going to get you more employees. Help us design the program. Help us get the equipment we need to run the program, and that's how we can build up our schools.
Okay. Hey, I like ideas. Yeah, let's see how it works. And I think your idea. I mean, I'm all for new and fresh. So we'll see. Let's keep going from here. Pascal, Zach, I just asked that you respond to families, youth, and educators. We may not like every answer every time, or like the answer every time, but be available. Have empathy for our school community members, and please just let people that you hear their pain, and we can work together to figure things out.
Yeah, absolutely, Pascal. And I've been trying to do this while I've been on the campaign trail too. There's a lot of hurt in the county right now, and you're absolutely right. People at least deserve a response for sure.
100%. Amanda, can we implement a delayed testing schedule for children for the purposes of religious fasting?
I don't see why not. I mean, it's easy for me to say that. I would think that that's something that we could do. I don't see why we couldn't. The part of the differentiated instruction, if we implement systems like that, there's room for that. We got to be empathetic and aware of the people that we have in our community, and try to do what we can to make things easier for them. If we're just talking about, standardized testings, I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think anybody is, but we got to have some kind of metric to compare what people are doing. And so from that perspective, I don't think it makes much difference when they take the test. It probably does to the teachers and how they schedule their lesson plans. But, if it's a week late, 2 weeks late, as long as it's available to the other students as well, and so that it's fair, I don't see any problem with that.
We'll have more of those conversations as we go on.
Yeah.
Liz, Zach, and all the conversations you have had with various staff members, parents, and others, what has been the most eye-opening for you? What have you learned?
I've been learning a lot about the IAs and how the IEPs work, and the good and the bad that goes along with that. And one thing that was surprising to me for the special ed, Roz Manley, I don't know if she's on or if you all are familiar with her, but she's a great person. I saw she was having some struggles. She posted something along the lines of, all these folks are running for school board talking about teachers need more pay, teachers need more pay. And she said, everybody working at the school needs more pay. Please pay attention to the support staff. So I reached out to her. I was like, tell me your story. Tell me what it's about. And so she was telling me that as an IA for the special education students, they spend most of their time one-on-one with a student. Mm-hmm. And the way these IEPs work is that periodically through the school year, there has to be a assessment where the parent, the teacher, and the student are all in the room, and they talk about how the student is progressing. And what she thought was weird and sort of disrespectful to her and her profession was that they were never part of the conversation, even though they're the ones most directly involved with that student. And to me, that seemed right there to me, that one simple change seems like low-hanging fruit to me. We got teachers who are overworked. We have people who want to be involved in the conversation and are being excluded. And that person, you know, if a teacher came to me and they said, I spend 8 hours one-on-one with your student every day, or anybody in the school said that to me, I'd be like, okay, so like, what's my kid like? Mm-hmm. Help me. Like what, because especially in those cases where those parents are, you know, they may need that extra help. These IAs that deal with, multiple students a year or through their career, they might know some things to help the parent even. So, and managing the IEPs is one thing that's a heavy burden on teachers. And so I think one thing we could do to lessen the burden on the teachers and show the IAs that we value them and value their profession is involving them in those conversations. And if for some reason they don't have the qualifications to be part of that conversation, we get that for them because they've expressed that they want it. Mm-hmm. Right? The ones who are invested in that program want it. So we should invest in them as well.
Okay. Let's keep moving on. Scroll down. I'm taking a look at this. Commissioners. Yep. School board and commissioners need to work hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Talk about some of your NPR shows.
They said, what are my favorite NPR shows?
No. Zach, I love your idea for Food for Fines. How I Built This, great show on NPR.
Yeah, they got the Car Talk podcast. They got the Car Talk show as a podcast now, so I'm listening to the old shows. It's great.
All right, Kelly, let me get to this comment right here. She's talking to Nicole. Nicole running for school board, District 3. I experienced this firsthand with my son this year. I had almost zero help from school administrators pointing me towards resource programs to help. I just came across the H&H program, which I could get him in for a physical condition. But anyone who needs in for a mental condition, you have to have a licensed psychiatrist to sign off. They should allow a psychiatric nurse practitioner to sign off. These are way easier to get into. I know I got discouraged many times because I was watching my son slip from A and B honors students to failing. I definitely think there should be some extra resources brought in or information on where and what they are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, to me, king for a day, how I think about things, okay? If somebody is board certified by the state to sign off on medical treatment, they should be able to sign off on this paperwork. That's what I think about it. So if a nurse practitioner could say, prescribe your child meds for whatever their particular condition is, or some other type of treatment, then they should probably be okay to sign off on whatever paperwork the school needs.
Right. Okay. And like I said, I'm not a medical professional either, but it's something we can take a look at too as well. Do you know Kelly?
I don't.
Oh.
Nice to meet you, Kelly.
Yeah. And Kelly, if I'm pretty sure you're open as far as hopping in your DMs, PMs, and going from there to
Yes.
talk more about it.
Yeah, definitely. Please do.
Yeah, and like anybody here, if you want to have further conversation with Zach Ball, that's what he's here for. So,
Yeah.
Amber, teacher supplies as well. Teachers have to spend way too much money on their own supplies, which is true. I see it firsthand almost every week.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I posted on my Facebook page a couple days ago. My son's teacher reached out. All she needed was literally just cardboard boxes, right? And I was like, cool, I got that. Brought it over, and the excitement that I brought cardboard boxes so they could do this project in school. It's just, reach out to your teachers. If you're watching this podcast right now, I know you care about your community, and I know you care about your kids' future, or even if you don't have kids in the school system, you at least care about the kids in this county. And if you do, you should reach out to a teacher and see what they need, because they're not getting the support they need. And so we unfortunately have to make up for that. And so I encourage you to reach out to your kid's teacher or a teacher and see what they need for their classroom, because it's probably not much.
Is there anything Charles County Public Schools can do to have a budget for teacher supplies?
Yeah, they do give the teachers a discretionary budget at the beginning of the year, but we all know it's not enough.
It's definitely
It's definitely not enough.
Not even close.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something they could do. Without having the budget paperwork here in front of me, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
hard. I'm sure there's something they can do, but that's one of those things where it's just money, right? And one thing that I would say the listeners here could do, or other, community-minded individuals in the county could do. My wife, she's a champion. She's treasurer for TC Martin PTO, and they've been able to raise a ton of money for their school this year. And they've been able to buy T-shirts for their Boosterthon Day, supplies for the teachers, and things like that. So getting your PTO organized, I've sat in on a lot of the PTO meetings at TC Martin, and they're small, but they're mighty, right? It doesn't take a lot of people getting organized and putting stuff on to raise that money for the school to help them teachers. So
And that money goes right back to the teachers.
it does. So, the PTO has discretion over how they want to use it. Sometimes they put on a party for the kids. Sometimes they give the money for right. Yeah. So sometimes they use it to buy stuff that the teachers need. So definitely look into that if you're interested in helping, which I think the folks here listening are. Definitely look into getting involved with your PTO and seeing what you can do to support them and coming up with good fundraising ideas.
Got it. Let's catch one of these comments.
Sure.
Left, which look like smoky swatted stuff that's not there. Look, first of all, shout out to Friday. All right. Look, man, all right, so just pause for a second. We're in a shed. I don't know if I've said this once before, but this is a shed that's been repurposed into a studio. We are outside. This is an outside building. Carlos is in here too as well. He's seen it. Sean has obviously been in here from last week. This is a shed. It's outside, at least in the backyard. All right. There are bugs. It's summertime.
Yeah.
And somehow these things just get in here. I have no idea. I can't control it. I apologize. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't know what that was. Some little gnat, so I had to swipe at it. You can't see it on camera. I can see it with my eyes. All right, enough of that.
It's here.
Yeah, I'm gonna light up a
I'll
candle.
vouch.
I have a candle right here, but I didn't have a lighter next to me, so I couldn't light it up. Usually kind of keeps them away, but that's what's going on there. Leftwood, just keep it up. Let's keep going with you. My goal is to make my kids upstanding citizens. This needs to be everyone's goal.
I agree. And as
Agreed,
a community, we need to set the example. And what I mean by that is we got to look at how we're talking about and to each other as well. It's easy to say that, say negative things about people we don't agree with. Sometimes we say that in front of our kids, and that stuff carries over. So we got to be mindful of that as parents as well. We got to walk the walk and talk the talk.
How we carry ourselves, absolutely. Yeah. Carlos Childs, Commissioner candidate, District 3. Let's put in place paid youth summer work programs with job training, working with our government, nonprofits, unions, and local businesses. And then Stacy Lynn, Commissioner candidate, District 4, says, and incentives for businesses to hire students. I'm all for that. Get these students out here working, for sure.
Well, the incentive to me, the incentive to the businesses is that we're producing good employees for them. If they help us out in developing these programs, then when these kids come out of school, they're ready to go right into the workforce for them. That's the incentive to the business, and that's how we got to sell it to them. We're not going to, the purpose of my idea wouldn't be to necessarily incentivize the business. It's to bring money into the school, not put money out, right? And so if we're trying to incentivize the business, what we need to give them needs to be a little less monetary and a little more down the road. They need to be making the investment up front so that we can get them the employees that they need.
Okay. Joshua Torres, how about giving an art teacher more than $150 for the year for 350 students for supplies? Man. And then Amber's comment to support that.
Yeah.
Talking here, it's unbelievable. I hate the teachers are treated so bad. We need to pour more into our teachers so they can pour more into our children. They are the future of this world. And it's true. The teacher health in this county is bad.
Yeah.
Not, I'm talking like physical, but I mean, after all the years of abuse and, just not being taken care of as you should.
Yeah.
It just weighs a ton on you. So it's sad to see, especially the teachers I know, teachers here in this comment section talking. It's incredibly sad the way they have been treated. And I know we've talked, I know you felt the same.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the reason why I'm here. I feel like we've asked a lot of our teachers over the last 2 years to pivot to this virtual environment, and they did the best they could with the tools they were provided, is what I'll say. Mm-hmm. And we gotta understand and give ourselves some grace. The learning loss that happened during COVID. I think we need to just take that on the chin and accept it. Like, trying to blame people or point fingers about what happened is not a worthwhile conversation, because frankly, I think the kids are more resilient than we want to give them credit for a lot of times. Because if you look at it, we have before when the school year started, this was something that Dr. Navarro pointed out in our strategic plan. Before the school year started, we had 10% of kids that were at around 10%. I don't remember the exact number, but it was low, that were at or on or below or mm-hmm. at or above reading grade level. When she gave us our presentation, they were at 20 to 30%, and looking to get to the 30%, and that's where we were before. So in about a little over a year of back in person schooling, we're already back to where we were. So. Amber G, the beard. Yeah.
She said, Jesus Christ. You keep talking. I'm just going through this and
no, you're right.
Yeah.
So we need to give our teachers some grace, because I feel like the more we harp on this learning loss during COVID, to me it feels like we're blaming them for not doing enough, and we ask them to do something almost impossible with almost no support. Right? They had to switch everything they were doing to a virtual environment, and be flexible, and they gave us the best they could with what they were provided. So yeah, I just think we need to give ourselves as a community a little bit of grace there when we talk about the learning loss during COVID, and just accept that it was a thing that happened, and try to remember that early on what we were trying to do is keep from killing grandma, right?
Right.
And so that maybe that was a worthy thing to give up, but we definitely need to address it. But we're almost back to where we were already, as far as the learning loss is concerned. So we need to be appreciative of our teachers. We need to be mindful of how we talk about it. When I started running, I was looking at it from this perspective of teachers being burnt out, and that's why we're leaving. And I read some articles and op-eds that were written by teachers, and I fell out of favor with that term. I don't like that term anymore, because I think it puts the blame on the teacher. It says that they have somehow in some way failed. They couldn't hack it, and that's why they're leaving. And it's not that. They're not getting the support they need, and we need to do better at that. And the parents, we got to play a big role in that.
Yeah, and that was 2020. I mean, that was so hard, especially on the educators, to just everything they had to come up with. The virtual year, lesson plan, and all the different apps they had to learn. I was sitting there with my two kids, and I was like, "This is crazy." So I just took them out and homeschooled them for the whole year. Me and my wife. And Nicole, I see your comment up there as far as school supplies. We'll hit you up. We'll see what we can do for that. But it was just too much. I couldn't imagine just being a teacher, educator during that period.
Yeah.
With all these students you had to monitor. You had kids in different environments too as well that wasn't very conducive to their learning. So, Leftwich, I got like 8 minutes left in me. How often have you said that? Torres, the system has failed and it's affected everyone. Well, no one's denying as far as there's been failures in the system. How do we, and it's a very wild thing to say, how do we fix it? I think that,
We got
brick by brick, you build
we got
a
to
wall.
bring in new ideas, right? And that's part of the reason why I'm running is I think I got some new different ideas. I look at things differently than folks who have been involved with the school system forever. But they're Pascal's right. They've been asked for a borderline impossible job. Definitely, but we got to work together. We got to get the community involved, and we got to bring in some new ideas because the stuff that we've been doing ain't working. So,
And that's one of the reasons why you're running.
Yep.
Tell me about some events you got coming up.
So-
Where can people meet you at?
Yeah. So obviously, I'll be at the roller derby event this weekend. I'll be there watching and passing out flyers. I'll have a little table set up. Nicole and Shauna will be there as well, I believe. We have our anti-bullying community forum going on at the public library. For that event, if you've got an issue with a student that you want to talk about, you need the help, come out for that one. That's not necessarily a social meet and greet. Then I've got Cobb Island Day coming up. I'm going to be at the Juneteenth event, and Cobb Island is the first weekend of June.
Who's Juneteenth event? The Charles County?
The Charles County one, yeah, the one that's over by the mall.
We may be in there. We may be doing the podcast live that day from it.
All right.
We're talking to some people behind the scenes, so
Sure.
we'll see. We'll see. I still got some emails I need to send out and all that other stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, so we got those are the big ones coming up. We're going to be scheduling more. I think we were talking about doing another just kind of a meet and greet, and then obviously catch me on Facebook and my email's on there too. And please reach out if you got smaller class sizes.
Well,
Definitely,
Joshua, I do agree. I mean, of course, I would love to have 8 students to a teacher, but if it's not enough, we got so many students coming in. I've left, which is right. I'm over here looking crazy. We got so many students coming in. We have so little teachers. I mean, it's just tough.
Eric, Elaine, what do you mean? Silence speaks volumes. Silence about what?
I know her and Terry were going back and forth about special education.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to talk anything about special education? I know there were some comments about it, but
Well, the special education piece. I mean, I kind of said what I think about it in terms of the IAPs being, or the IAs being more involved with the adjudication of the IEPs, and I think what Derek Terry was saying was something along the lines of getting some better writing to the IEPs, and I think that's definitely important because those become legal documents. So those are federally mandated legal documents. If those aren't written well, it can definitely cause problems. So there definitely needs to be some attention paid to that. Yeah, I think that's what Erica Lane was talking about.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Certified speed teachers be in the room. Okay.
So I think there were some more questions up there, but there's been a lot of back and forth conversation.
Hey, I love it.
I'm glad I'm getting people talking at least.
I love it.
Nothing else.
Hey, nothing. This comment section is everything as far as this podcast goes. Definitely other people. Joshua Torres hiring more teachers. Now, I know we talked about that too as well. Do you want to kind of rehash that as far as what do you think we could do to hire more teachers?
So, right. So back to Dr. Navarro's strategic plan. She's got stuff in there to help develop a teacher pipeline, which is what we desperately need right now. So we got to stop the teachers who are thinking about leaving from leaving, right, and get them
Retention.
what they need, right? So we got to focus on that retention piece. That's key because the turnover, is been proven to be incredibly detrimental to students, even if it's the teacher's there one year and they're not the next year, and it's with a different group of kids. It's just like there's constantly somebody new there and somebody who's constantly learning the system. It's bad for the students. So, but no, hiring more people, we got to incentivize it. We got to make it worth their while, right? So we need to be competitive with the counties around us. Calvert and PG County, they have really good benefit programs and pay for their teachers. They are having less issues with hiring teachers. So we need to do what we can to be competitive with them. And frankly, be more than being competitive, we need to do it in such a way that our teachers and our staff are able to live in the county that they teach in. Most of them want to do that. But PG County and Calvert aren't that far away. So they could live in Charles County and make more money at PG. They might do it, and they are doing it. So we gotta work on that. We gotta at least be competitive.
Leffert says house incentives. There's already stuff like that in place.
That was actually one of the definitely there's some stuff in place, but they're working on a trust for housing for teachers. But there was a legislative proposal. Pascal probably like this. Basically, what the proposal was, it was from SPAR, which is a realtor group who tries to do like housing equity programs and legislation. So one of what their proposal was is that they take the increased revenue or a portion of the increased revenue from the taxes going up because they didn't adopt the constant yield, and they put that money towards a housing fund for county employees, teachers, any county employees, but specifically like geared towards teachers and the folks who need it.
Yeah. So there it is. Let's see. Get a couple more comments, and we're gonna wrap up here shortly.
Sure.
This man Leffert said I got 8 minutes. Is he still in here? Yeah, still in there. House incentives. That was the last comment. Go back up. Anti-bullying event. We talked about that one too as well. This is right. The other half of a Torres comment I want to get to. Get rid of standardized testing. Now, you said that you wanted to still have something in place just to compare us to different counties.
Well, there's got to be some kind of assessment program. Hold on one second. Getting a phone call. Oh, it's the boss. Just kidding. No, it's my lovely partner, Melissa. I will text her.
I'm like a boss, 10:25 at night.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of boss. Might not be a boss at all. Allow choice, he says too as well. I'm all for school choice. I'm just curious. I just have some questions as far as, well, let me let you ask that question.
Sure.
School choice. What are your thoughts?
So, it's tricky, but I think there's ways to do it well and to insulate it from some of the pitfalls. So if I were to think school choice, I would think something more along the lines of, if you live here, you can go to one of these schools in the public school system. That's what we'll support. And
Do you think it could lead to overcrowding?
I worry about overcrowding. I also worry about like how funding works, right? So funding is based on how many students you have there. So if it's a school that people would prefer not to go to, they're going to lose more funding and move more students. And like, there's something to be said for, well, then those schools need to get their act together, but we're not going to be enabling them to do so if we're taking their funding away. Mm-hmm. So, and maybe that's an indicator that the school board needs to get involved and go and deal with that school and figure out what's not working there and fix it, right? There's something to be said for that. But it makes me nervous when we talk about that kind of thing and how the funding works. But I do think parents have somewhat of a choice of which school they go to. I know that when I was in high school, my parents moved from Bryan's Road to Pomfret, but I'd already been at Lackey for 2 years. And I didn't want to go to McDonough. And so we filled out paperwork, and basically what the paperwork says is you agree to go to school and provide your own transportation, and you can go to Lackey. That was the essence of the paperwork.
It was that easy.
It was. And so, maybe there is something for that in the county at certain levels, but high quality public options. Pascal's got it right. I worry a little bit about for-profits, K through 12s, and things of that nature. and what it could do to the public school system for the people who couldn't afford those programs.
Yeah, I like to. It's a good conversation, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm for it, but in a certain moderation too as well. But at the same time,
It's
I wouldn't want to stop a kid from going where they want to go to school at.
No, for sure, I don't. And everybody wants what's best for their kid. I think my role as a member of the school board would be to ensure that all of these schools in my district are the best option for their kids. So I think that's the role I play in it. But yeah, I think public options would be better.
Pascal, choice can be offered in our public school system is once you give vouchers that you start defunding our public system, expanding inequities, and eliminating all accountability.
Yeah, that's yes, I agree, Pascal.
It deserves a conversation, though, for sure.
It absolutely deserves a conversation. Too soon for me. Too soon for what, Pascal?
Leftwich wants something where in the evenings, if you could, do an event.
Oh, what's that now?
It said somewhere in the evenings we could do an event.
Yeah, sure. I can do an event in the evenings. Typically, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, we got baseball. Monday and Wednesday, my wife's got derby practice. So usually if I'm doing something in the evening, it's going to be in the digital realm, right? So that I can kind of be at home with my kids and make sure they're taken care of.
Meet this man at the fairgrounds. Yes, you could do.
Yes.
Dottie Butler Washington. Dottie, what's going on with you? It's nice to meet you a few weeks back too as well. Every Student Succeed Act allows local schools an opportunity to put strategies into place that have been proven to be the most successful and increases student achievement. You do not have to test the student to death.
Yeah.
You do weekends?
Oh, Bonnie. Yes, I do weekends. Bonnie is my homie as well. She donated some stuff for the stimming event I'm doing this weekend.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Hey, 1 degree separation, Charles County.
Yep.
But yeah, all right. So before we get out of here, Zach Ball, first of all, I appreciate your time too.
Hey,
as well.
thanks for having me. This is a good time.
Yeah, I love the pin shirt combination. If you last thoughts to the people too as well, where to find you, social media, all of that. And obviously, if someone's ready to email you response time, when they can get back to you, everything campaign wise, what do you got for us?
Yeah. So too soon. Oh, too soon for time. Fair enough.
Real quick, Pascal, I almost was going to do a live event. Not live event. I'm sorry. I was going to go Facebook Live that night too as well. I thought about it, but I got back in the house way too late. So.
Michael, I want you to, I'd like you to Google, or I'll send you a link. If you message me on Facebook or something, I can send you a link. ASCD, whole child approach. Yeah, definitely. Fairgrounds meetup. We'll do it. But that is the method that I would like to see to help deal with the clear behavior issues. The method was specifically designed for that sort of thing. So if you have the time, look that up, and if you don't, I'll bring some literature with me on Saturday. How about that?
Hey, there it is.
Cool.
As far as where to find you at social media, all that.
Yeah. So the only social media I have for my campaign specifically is on Facebook, which is probably behind the times, but that's what I got. So
I think it's good enough for what you're doing here.
yeah, elect Zach Ball for School Board is the Facebook page. It's linked in this. I'm sure it's linked in this conversation, or if it's not, I'll post in the comments when I get back.
Yeah.
Yep. Pascal's got me, and then my email. No OnlyFans. Not yet, man. Hey, I do got to do some fundraising, so you never know.
Hey, the balls in your court. OnlyFans. Just got to hit it over. That's all you got to do. Just hit it over.
Send it. ballforboard@gmail.com is my email, and then if you see me around town, bald guy with the bald head, last name is Ball. Hit me up.
That's it. Oh man, it makes money. Hey, campaign financing. Come on now. Them OF accounts. What you got? Nah, that was that's why I love the comment section. That's why I love y'all. Nah, this was fantastic. This was great. I appreciate your time. I appreciate school board members coming on here and speaking with the people, engaging. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of new school board members this upcoming cycle too as well.
Pascal said we're going to all be on OnlyFans. The taxes keep going up.
Hey, you know what? The other day, to the gas station, that thing said $4.50. Oh,
it was $4.52 when I got gas today.
It was the Wawa. Over on.
I'm glad one of my cars. I'm glad one of my cars is a hybrid. I'm real glad one of my cars is a hybrid.
Man was ahead of the time. See, there you go. I was ahead of the time. So I got the hybrid. Now look at me. $20 is all it takes. The rest is battery. No, but no, great podcast for sure. Great.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah,
and thanks to the comment section.
Yeah, I would love to get we got to do something for election time too as well. So yeah, even it's me like coming to an event and saying what's up. So
well, I think we wanted. So they had the one candidate forum over at Thomas Stone's PTO put it on, but there was like some scheduling issues and things got wonky. And so what we were talking about doing, our little New Kids on the Board group is talking about doing is hosting our own and getting all the candidates that want to be there and trying to help organize that because marketplace of ideas is important, right? So I'm willing to have that conversation with anybody who's running against me and things like that, and help inform the community about what their options are.
Hell, at this point, you know what? There's so many candidates that have been on, reached out to as well. This other podcast popping up here Sunday. We got Emmanuel O, District 2 Commissioner. We got the school board coming on here. Derek Larson to be on June 1st. Sarah Proctor on the 15th. Dory Butler Washington, Julie Brown. There's so much work for June. I should just throw an event, a BNY event, just have all y'all come through.
That'd be great.
Yeah, why not? So, yeah, that'd be something that we could work on.
Yeah, let's be in contact and we can see what we can do. I'll me and Nicole and Shauna will help try to organize it and reach out to people for you and whatever we got to do.
Yeah, we could do something. Yeah, do it. Hey, bring Leftwich. Leftwich, you ain't gotta be security, man. You come inside and drink with us too as well. Yeah, we probably could make something like that happen. I know early voting is July 9th.
Yeah.
So it won't be 4th of July.
Yeah, well, with all this, so I know
Derek Terry, I'm gonna get your questions answered. We're gonna find out.
So I know what we were talking about is maybe doing it after the primaries because things are so hectic right now for everybody. School graduations and different schedules and things like that. It might be easier to schedule something a little further out, but
early voting is 7/7. Thought it was 7/9. Primary 7/19. Okay. Hey, appreciate y'all correcting me. Definitely appreciate that. So July 7th. So you saying before July 7th though, right?
After we were talking about after primaries.
After primaries?
Yeah, possibly. But if we can get it done beforehand, let's do it beforehand. That's even better.
If I was thinking around like June 30th.
I'd have to check. I gotta check.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. That could be like a Tuesday. I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Nah, bro, no backtrack.
What's the?
Hey, look, I'm more wrong up here than right, so. But I appreciate it.
What question are we ducking?
No. That's So I mentioned Derek, and I think this was Derek talking about too as well. If I'm correct. So Derek Larson was supposed to do a debate with Sheriff Barry.
Yes.
And Derek Terry is going to host it. Okay. But Derek Larson had backed out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into the semantics of that here.
Sure.
But Derek Larson will be on the he'll be on the podcast on June 1st. So.
Yeah. I saw the conversations going on around that. That was definitely interesting. So.
Yeah, exactly. So Charles County it's a very, very interesting place.
There's a lot of people who want to get out in the community and try to do good.
I'm all for it.
We should let's at least try to make good assumptions about why people are doing the things they're doing.
Exactly.
And I think that's how we try to fix the conversation and set the good example for our kids.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Torres State doesn't vote anymore. Well, I can't. Everybody has their own reasons too as well. Jaded by the process, but I mean, at the very least, I know Zach Ball will reach out and maybe I could talk off the side and go from there.
Yeah, Josh, I'd be happy to talk with you about anything you'd like to. Not your jurisdiction anymore. District 1 maybe. Yeah, but there's some candidates I like all over the county. I can help you point you in the right direction there too if you wish. I'm willing to talk if you are.
No, not jaded. Not jaded. Okay.
Right
Taurus, I know I'm saying this too. I gotta hit you up too as well. I got a couple questions for you on the side. Look like Leftwich is ready for Larson in more ways than one. So this is but we got Emmanuel O, District 2 Commissioner on Sunday, and then we got the school bus drivers on Wednesday. So that's next two coming from there. But Zach Ball, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah,
and everything.
thank you for having me.
It's not too long of a drive for you, is it?
No, it was like 20 minutes. It's cool.
Easy. All right, that's it. Hey, Charles County, appreciate y'all. And until next time, Zach, once again, thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, thanks to the comment section. Appreciate it.
We'll see y'all Sunday. We got you, Terry. What's going on with you?
Yo, another day in the lab, baby. So it's always a good day.
Oh,
It's always a good day when we in the lab. You want policing to be better in your communities? The best policing that you can that can happen in any community are people that's actually from the community and that.
Once again, Rick, host BNY podcast, now known as What Happened Week with BNY. Dev, how you feeling, man?
I'm in here.
What's good, comment section?
Here.
Do we drag our people down when sometimes they don't deserve it? For sure, absolutely. In this situation, this man deserves every single dragging that we can do because this is not an example of us.
But you got the angles. You got the knowledge of the game, bro.
This is where you're getting at, the IQ.
On it, down. Like he's telling you what's going on. He was a bad husband. He was just doing things his way. He's apologizing to his wife, like, yo.
Pat ourselves on the back for that one because if you ain't give yourself awards, I mean, who is?
Yeah, no boy.
Hey,